in Nigeria, Lagos specifically, a 17-year-old girl who was locked up in a warehouse by her mistress in the Sherry area of Lagos has been rescued by the police. The girl, who identified herself as a Blessing, told Channels Television's correspondent Victoria Idowu that her boss locked her up after she decided to quit working for her as a domestic help. Before police officers arrived at the warehouse where the girl was locked, neighbors had tried to force the gate open. The girl was later rescued and taken away by the police, while the mistress, Mrs. Mary Idowu, was arrested and taken away for questioning.
You can't take. I got here only to see this girl locked behind this gate, and I asked her, "Why are you here, Blessing?" She said, "A madam locked her there." Since when? Since yesterday morning. What did you do? She said she asked for excuse or permission to leave, that she was tired of the working conditions and she wanted to go home. And based on that, madam brought her here yesterday morning and locked her up.
Joining us now is founder, Chief Executive Officer of Coral Executive Agency Limited, a cleaning and staffing agency in Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. Mrs. Chinenye Ogbonnaya Ikegu, thank you for joining us on the program today. Listening to the story about the 17-year-old girl who was locked up at her madam's shop, what thoughts run through your mind as you look at the footage and the story behind the actions of this lady, who is her boss?
Thank you for having me. We, as Nigerians, we tend to overstretch the limits of our rights over the workers we hire. We expect these workers to drop every right and everything they have as individuals once they come into our homes. This is absolutely right. This is absolutely wrong. It's totally wrong. This was part of the reasons why we had the trainings we had last week. Domestic workers are human beings. They have rights, they have responsibilities, they have likes, they have desires. A work agreement is like every other work agreement, even if it's the domestic industry. They have the right to enter into this agreement whenever they want, and they have a right to also pull out of this agreement at any time. And you, as an employer, must allow them to take their leave. This was the reason why we had the event we had last week at the Women's Center in partnership with National Human Rights Commission, Abuja, the Nigerian Police, NAPTIP, digital units of the Nigerian Postal Service, and other agencies. This was so to address issues that domestic workers experience in Nigeria.
Right.
They go through abuses, violations, yes.
So you have had experience, with this paid help, so your company does this on a regular basis. This is something that you specialize in. Do these paid helps, when they're faced with situations like this, what sort of rights do they have and what options are open to them?
They have the right to go into this employment when they want to. They also have the right to leave when they want to leave. They have that option. And if anyone tries to violate their rights, they have the Human Rights Commission, they have the Nigerian Police to go to. They have rights to leave at any time. You do not tell workers to stay put and work for you. This might have arisen out of relationship issues or violations, or the worker was working for the employer, and at certain periods she was unable to see what she was promised before she started working. So she has a right to come into employment. She has a right to leave at any time she wants.
Yeah, but when
if at any time the employer tried to stop her from leaving, she needed to find a way to get across to Human Rights Commission. This was part of the training we had last week.
Well, you're talking about people who probably know about these rights, but many times people prefer to bring these helps from the villages where, there's sometimes distant family members who offer these services in exchange for either education or that they're paid outright. And I know the government does have laws insisting that people go through processes with agencies like yours. But where they do not, is there a penalty for this? And then But someone who didn't come, through a particular agency, how does she or he wriggle out of such a situation?
Okay. This industry is currently somewhat informal in Nigeria. People get helps from different avenues. They get helps from their families, they get helps from their villages. You really can't stop people, but you can stop how these workers are treated, whether you get them from your family members, whether you get them from your villages, you get them from agencies. What the Nigerian government expects you to do, your rights and your obligations and your protection of the workers under you covers these workers irrespective of the medium or the channel in which they were gotten.
What does the police then do in this situation? Because for the 17-year-old, the police have taken her away. They've also taken her boss away for questioning. What are the repercussions here for either of them?
She will be tried. She's in violation of the rights of the girl. She had the right to leave, and one, she locked that girl up. The police will come into this issue. NAPTIP will come into this issue, and I believe she would be tried. They would investigate this issue. She will probably be tried, and if found guilty, of course, she'll face the consequences of her actions. You do not lock up people's children as dogs, or you do not have that right. They are working for you. They have a right to leave when they want to leave.
Chinenye Ogbonnaya, thank you again for joining us on Network Africa. Appreciate your being here with us on the program.
Thank you for having me.